In Iceland, we are experiencing our fifth volcanic eruption within the last year, which of course begs the question from many as to whether or not Iceland is safe to travel and thoughts about how locals are doing, if there are going to be more eruptions, how dangerous this current eruption is. So I'm just going to give a bit of an update about that. Last night, August 22nd at around 8:30 or so, we saw an eruption start on the Reykjanes Peninsula in the same area in which other eruptions have been happening in the same place. And for those who are not aware, the Reykjanes Peninsula, like I mentioned in a previous video, is just one small part of Iceland. Iceland, in comparison to that area, is quite large. And so the rest of the country is not impacted. And thankfully, the town Grindavik that is near this area where the eruption is happening, so is the Blue Lagoon and the Svartsengi power station, all those places at the moment are secure. And there isn't any current prediction that the lava flow will get towards Grindavik and destroy the town or any houses. There has been some concern about the power station, and of course there are defense walls that have been built of lava rock and earth in the area in order to try and protect the Svartsengi power station and the Blue Lagoon. So the Blue Lagoon was evacuated. An emergency evacuation took 40 to 45 minutes last night when it was thought of that the eruption was going to happen. I'm sure that might have been pretty scary for some people, but kind of in true fashion with the Blue Lagoon, they're thinking about reopening, even though the eruption is ongoing. In that regard, I hope that the conditions are safe for staff as well as people to go back there if they decide to reopen. Of course, make your own choice. If you prefer to go to another lagoon while an eruption is ongoing, I don't blame you. Personally, I wouldn't go out there if I knew an eruption was happening in this area actively to the Blue Lagoon because it is so close. But everyone, makes their own decisions, and I would just say make the one that feels right to you. And as I mentioned, for the rest of the country, we are safe, we are fine. I always appreciate that people are reaching out to ask how people are doing here. And myself, I live in Reykjavik in a downtown area, and so I am a 40 to 50 minute drive from the volcanic activity. And there are people who live much closer, meaning on the Reykjanes Peninsula, that are safe as well. So as long as the Svartsengi power station stays intact, that area will be okay. We're always, of course, looking at the wind and whether or not the wind will blow pollution into our direction, and that hasn't been the case, thankfully. Volcanic activity in this area definitely has increased since the first eruption happened some years ago, but there isn't any sign that this is going to stop. And when it comes to flights, when it comes to people visiting here, it is completely safe. The airport is unaffected. All flights are unaffected. The only difference you might encounter is that the airline might fly in a direction that shows the passengers some of the eruption, especially if it's not causing any harm to homes or to the power station. So that would be probably the only kind of cool thing is you'd see it from the air. But there isn't any concern that it would impact travelers. In terms of accessing the eruption, it is always the case that when an eruption starts, the site is closed off, and if it ever becomes deemed safe for people to travel there, then the authorities will let people. For the last few eruptions, they have not allowed people because it's not been a safe location for that, and that's totally fair. However, from afar at night, you can see the eruption sometimes from the road or even in Reykjavik, so it's not it won't necessarily be that you can get super up close to it, but oftentimes you can get some type of visual of the lava spewing out of the earth and forming new land. There are a few different news organizations in Iceland that talk about this in English, like RÚV English, Iceland Review. Of course, safetravel.is is a great site to visit if you want to make sure or see if anything's impacted, meaning road closures, the eruption site itself. And then there's weather-related conditions and other aspects of safety that safetravel.is always is putting out. So I always recommend checking out those sites just to make sure. But in terms of for now, the eruption started with like a lot of lava, but it has calmed down quite a bit, and they're thinking it's going to reach a sort of equilibrium. and maybe even stop soon. Who knows? It's hard to tell. An eruption can start out really strong and stop, or at least in this area from what we've been experiencing, or the eruption can start really strong and go on for weeks. So due to that unpredictability, it's hard to say when it will stop, when it will get stronger, if it decides, if that makes sense for it to get stronger, or if it will just linger on for some time. It is a fascinating thing to see for sure. So I don't doubt people who want to see it. You can, of course, take a helicopter tour if that is something of interest. Just be a safe distance from it. But please listen to authorities and stay away, just so that they're able to, the people on the ground, construction teams, everything, are able to keep this area secure, particularly the power station, because that provides vital services to the whole area of the Reykjanes Peninsula. So that's thousands of people who are counting on having hot water and energy flowing to their homes. Anything significant happens, meaning it's flowing towards Grindavik or the power station is impacted or something like that, I will definitely come back and give another update. But if not, if it stops, then of course our lives just can kind of continue on until another potential eruption happens. And hopefully, you know, it isn't right after the other they're going on, but you never know. Hopefully it doesn't impact any infrastructure like I've been talking about that has been so crucial for many lives in this specific area, not in the whole country. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. This is definitely something that some people get excited about, but I think for people who live here, it's an in-between of holding our breath to see if whether or not this is going to cause any destruction. And if not, then it's kind of like you can be in awe at the pictures of the beautiful lava flowing and of course the power of it. But there's always this sort of like caution taken whenever eruption happens to see what the predictions are and where the lava is flowing. Hopefully this has been helpful for those who have been thinking about traveling to Iceland or who are already here and just needed some helpful information. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.